From insanely brave pets striking way above their pay grade, to the astonishing thing that happened after this woman got pummeled by a whale. Let's meet some seriously heroic animals that saved human lives. This lady walking her dog was blissfully unaware of the insane dangers that waited up ahead. You can't see it yet, and neither can she, but luckily, her little dog can. Wow, that was a close one. The huge vehicle completely loses control, and without Mommy's little hero stopping for a sniff, then pulling at the lead, they could have both easily been splattered. Scary stuff. Sometimes dogs are the heroes, and sometimes they're the villains. In this dangerous encounter involving a 6-year-old child, they're both. Whoa, did you notice how Hero Hound took his human buddy down, guarding directly over him to keep him safe? That's one very well-trained guard dog, unlike his crazy neighbor. The world can be a terrifying place, something this young person found out when a car pulled up beside them. Whatever the driver's sinister intentions were, they were soon thwarted by an unlikely hero. Without the help of man's best friend, that situation could have gone a whole lot worse. Outside a shop in Thailand, a pesky local dog started playing too rough with a young girl. She tried to escape, but she was gonna need some backup. I bet that cat's feline pretty good about itself after winning that. Pretty sure my cat would have just sat indifferently and watched me get mauled in that scenario. Out in nature, there are certain situations where survival depends purely on intimidating the thing that's trying to eat you. And when that thing is a freaking grizzly bear, you'd better have some big cojones, like this Great Pyrenees who risked it all to save his family. Simply by standing his ground and barking with all he's got, this brave pooch sent the wild grizzly cowering into the bushes. And look at that smile back at his owner. Did I do good, boss? Yeah, you did real good, buddy. Just might have saved some lives today. At first glance, all seems pretty normal here, right? The only problem is, that's not this guy's house. This man is a home intruder. The man acts shockingly casual, entering the unlocked door and petting the Great Dane so it won't know something's up, while he ventures further in the house for God knows what. And his plan almost works, right up until the terrifying moment the owner comes face to face with the intruder. Seeing its owner's reaction, this dog instantly realizes something's wrong and chases the intruder out of the house. The man was later arrested and convicted of burglary. Delving into the terrors of the sea, we see here a heart-stopping encounter between whale biologist Nan Hauser and a 25-ton humpback whale. Usually whales aren't aggressive towards humans, but this humpback appears to be the exception to the rule, constantly shoving the scientist and rolling her over. Terrified, Nan didn't know what to do. She couldn't figure out why the whale was attacking her. Then she saw something.
There's a big tiger shark up there.
Yeah?
Yeah, go.
Go come in the boat.
Big tiger shark.
And that's right, a dangerous tiger shark was stalking nearby. The whale wasn't attacking her, it was pushing her back to her boat. Thanks to the humpback, Nan and her team were all safely on the boat before the shark could reach them. But the altruistic whale couldn't leave without saying goodbye. Nan has spent decades researching and saving whales, and now a whale has returned the favor. Part of the danger of working with animals, especially big ones, is they often don't realize their own strength. The hefty fella in this next clip was probably just horsing around, but things turned serious when it began squeezing the life out of the woman. Whew, She can breathe again, all thanks to handsome Mr. Braids right there. This kid is crawling right towards serious danger. Just out of sight at the bottom of your screen is a staircase. What happens next will leave your jaw on the floor. Have you ever seen anything like that? With lightning-quick reflexes, the clever cat leaps into action, seemingly realizing the toddler was about to be in serious danger. Either that or the cat picked a super lucky time to have a violent freakout. Let me know what you think the cat's reaction was all about in the comments. Let's return to bears now. Sorry, wrong clip. Anyway, going into your backyard and seeing this thing waiting for you would make anyone's blood run cold. But before the owner of this property could even head outside to object to this unwanted guest, if you listen closely, you'll hear that someone is already on guard. And when the guest takes an interest in raiding the bird feeder,
release the hounds.
those bold bulldogs actually broke through the porch railings to initiate that tense standoff. Wow, I don't know if that was bravery or stupidity, but either way it worked. A bear losing a fight to a couple of dogs isn't entirely unbelievable, but a bear versus a single house cat? Well, there's no way Kitty's walking out alive, right? Well, let's see what happened when that scenario played out with one cat that would do anything to protect its owner. Man, the way that cat was stalking that bear, you'd think it was hunting a mouse. Badass. Orange Kitty doesn't even look back as it saunters back to its owner. But it wasn't over yet. The bear got a second wind and scrambled back down, and here's how that went. Oh, bear, didn't you learn the first time?
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Check this out. Notice anything unusual about this dog? That's right, she's missing the entire upper half of her snout. This is Kabang, and her story is equal parts horrifying and heartwarming. In 2011, two girls in the Philippines were crossing the road when a motorbike came flying towards them. Kabang jumped in front of the motorcycle, taking the impact and saving the lives of the two girls. Remarkably, Kabang survived too, but she had to undergo extensive surgery, losing her snout in the process. She returned a hero and doesn't seem even slightly deterred from the loss of her nose.
You're a good girl.
She sure is, lady. She sure is. Not many things in life could be scarier than what happened to a 3-year-old boy back in 1996 when he fell into the gorilla pit at the Brookfield Zoo. Plummeting more than 20 feet, the boy was knocked unconscious, left to the mercy of one of nature's most powerful animals. But what happened next, no one could have predicted. Binti Jua, a female gorilla, cradled a vulnerable child and then, unbelievably, took him to a service door, where she handed the child over to zoo personnel. If it wasn't for Binti's remarkable compassion, this could have gone a lot worse. Not just for the kid, but for Binti. We all know what happened to Harambe, after all. Thankfully, Binti Jua is still alive and well, and is now a gorilla grandma. In the clip you're about to see, things take a sudden turn after this little boy goes wandering beyond the edge of his family home. Good work, dog. It's a little worrying when you need to take parenting tips from a German Shepherd, though. Hopefully, that father will be a little bit more observant around wild cows from now on. In 1986, a boy on holiday with his family fell into a gorilla compound at Durrell Wildlife Park, New Jersey, and lost consciousness. Unlike the child at the Brookfield Zoo who fell into the enclosure, a female whose motherly instincts may have saved the child's life, this boy fell into the home of Jambo, a male silverback. Silverbacks weigh more than 400 pounds and can lift nearly 2,000 pounds of dead weight, so as Jambo approached, tensions were extremely high. But miraculously, Jambo didn't hurt the boy. In fact, he stood guard so that none of the other apes in the enclosure would hurt him. Then Jambo shocked everybody by stroking the injured child's back, seemingly to comfort him. Eventually, help arrived and the legendary Jambo left the boy to be rescued, where he fully recovered. You're about to see why geese are not to be messed with. You're also about to see why we should be thankful dogs exist. Damn, that goose was not giving up easy. Good thing he met such a gentle guard dog, willing to restrain him without straight up biting his head off. He can count himself lucky he's leaving the fight with all his feathers still in the right places. This lady was paralyzed with fear when she noticed a wolf spider trying to crawl its way into her car. But in a shocking twist, her adversary would soon be brutally eliminated. Personal magpie bodyguard swoops on in. Spider wouldn't be my choice of a snack, but all props to that hero bird regardless. In the footage you're about to see, you'll witness a surprising and frankly kind of hilarious turn of fate that met a bear who wandered into an Alaska man's garage. Check it out.
Hey. Hey, bear, go. Hey, bear. Hey, go.
A few moments later.
Wow, that dog wasn't messing around. Old Bear went flying and clearly learned his lesson. But you don't always need a big dog to send a bear packing. Over in Vancouver, a terrifying home invasion by a black bear proved that size isn't everything. Holy moly, that little guy's aggressive. Not gonna lie, I'd be running for my life too. Those ankle biters don't mess around. Still, this one's a good old boy, even if he is a little angry.
I love you, dog!
Dogs aren't the only animals guarding their homesteads against invading bears. In the insane clip up next, a very unlikely pair of defenders viciously fight off an invader on their owner's property. Piggy power. With the intruder scared right out of town, not only did the pigs make the farm safe for themselves, but for their owner too. I feel like these guys have earned the right to not become bacon. What do you think, folks? This next clip shows a dog who, through pure instinct, prevents an absolutely horrific disaster. This takes place in Huaral, Peru, in the backyard of a journalist who found themselves subjected to an attempt to silence them in the most shocking way. Watch what happens as their attacker throws a stick of dynamite into their yard. It might not look like much, but that ever-vigilant dog just ran up and bit the dynamite, inadvertently extinguishing the fuse with her slobbery mouth. She suffered a few burns to her vocal cords, but thanks to her, nobody else was harmed. And a few days later, the suspect in the footage was arrested for the attempted attack. Dogs 1, dynamite 0. When you're a small child, threats can come in all shapes and sizes, and what looks like the makings of a cute interaction can turn scary fast. The goat might have just been playing, but all it would have taken was one badly placed headbutt to cause some serious brain damage. And that dog was not taking any chances. Not in my backyard, kid.
Not on my watch.
Over in Alaska, it turns out you can't even relax in your own backyard. One second you're hanging out with your dogs, the next... Holy antlers, Batman! That might be a scary moose, but that's an even scarier dog. And we're not done with moose yet. Check out how this one charges at an unsuspecting man and meets a surprising foe. As much as I appreciate the little yipper's bravery, it would have only taken one swift stomp from the moose to turn this guy two-dimensional. So yeah, with moose around, probably best to keep your mini dogs on a leash, folks. Picture this, a 12-year-old girl in mortal danger amidst a pride of lions. The twist? The lions are not the problem. On her way home from school in Ethiopia back in 2005, the girl in question was snagged by a gang of kidnappers who intended to sell her off into forced marriage. With the police unable to find her after a week, all hope seemed to be lost. Enter the lions. You see, the kidnappers were holed up in a remote wilderland, a few hundred miles outside of the city of Addis Ababa. At one point in their journey, their movement trail led them right through the territory of a pride of lions. Now, whether the lions were alerted by the girl's cries or merely decided to lay down the law upon the unwelcome intruders, the felines attacked the kidnappers, chasing them off and leaving the terrified little girl alone with the pride. But the lions didn't harm her. They stayed with her for half a day until police finally approached. Then, according to the sergeant on the case, they just left her like a gift and wandered off into the wild. Wildlife experts commenting on the bizarre case have suggested that the girl might have been saved by the lions because she was crying. A young girl whimpering could be mistaken for the mewing sound of a lion cub, which in turn could explain why the lions didn't eat her. Perhaps they assumed she was one of their own. The true reasoning behind the predator's astonishing act we'll probably never know, but it's something that the girl will remember as long as she lives. Child kidnapping is a fear for parents the world over. Luckily, you don't always need to keep a lion by your side to protect kids from human predators. That'll teach him. Thankfully, this is only scenario training from a canine defense school. But that takedown was some professional stuff. I've got a feeling that dog will be saving a lot of lives in the years to come. A normal drive to work quickly became nerve-wracking when this man realized someone's life was in serious danger. This clever pupper was desperately trying to get anyone's attention after that baby somehow managed to crawl out of her house and to the roadside. Pretty amazing that this dog clearly recognized the imminent danger of the road and acted more responsibly than the kid's own parents, right? On August 4th, 1998, a lady named Joanne was home with her pets when she suddenly collapsed. She quickly realized she was having a heart attack. Unable to move, she called for help, but nobody came. She was sure she was going to die until a hero emerged. It was Lulu, her pot-belly pig. Lulu went trundling off, leaving Joanne's trailer through the doggy door, where she walked into the middle of the road and laid down, seemingly putting herself in harm's way to attract someone's attention. And finally, someone stopped and got out, and Lulu led them inside to her owner, and the stranger called an ambulance. Joanne made a full recovery. So, did Lulu just happen to head out and lie in the road because it was a comfy spot, or did she really know she was saving her owner? It's impossible to say, but we know this much: if she hadn't done it, Joanne would have died. Her doctors later revealed that if the surgery had been delayed by a mere 15 more minutes, it would have been too late. And for that, whether intentional or otherwise, she has Lulu to thank. Picture this. You're out on a snowy mountain hitting the slopes when suddenly the ground is shaken by a colossal avalanche. You're completely covered in snow and ice, trapped, freezing, and rapidly losing hope. Then you see this. Could there ever be a better sight? That's Dolly. She's an avalanche rescue dog taking her rescue tests. With the power of her schnoz and light feet, she's trained to sniff and dig out the stranded and make their locations known to rescuers. Can we watch that little snoot pop out of the ice one more time, just for me? There she is. Who knew life-saving could be so adorable? At first glance, this clip looks like just an ordinary day, putting away your dishes while your dog helpfully distracts you. Except, Bailey is no ordinary dog, and he's not distracting her. He's trying to tell her something very important. Katie here suffers from a heart condition, which causes fainting and severe dizziness, and can lead to dangerous falls. Katie doesn't know it yet, but she's about to have a medical episode. Lucky for her, Bailey is trained for just this situation. Sensing it before it's happened, the dog makes his owner sit down to minimize the danger. And then it gets really impressive. Yep, he fetches her phone so that she can call for help if she needs to, and he's not done yet. Wow, meds and all? He even gets her water from the refrigerator. The incredible ability of dogs like Bailey to detect medical episodes has a fascinating explanation. Primarily, these pooches are trained to use their ultra-powerful noses to detect changes in certain compounds in human breath or sweat. These compounds change when someone experiences certain medical episodes, like seizures or drop in blood sugar levels. So, when the dog picks up on these scent changes or other subtle behavioral changes, they step into action with a set of pre-established responses. Man, we really don't deserve dogs, do we? When California tow truck driver Martin Hall Jr. encountered a dog acting strangely on a dirt road, he could never have predicted the shocking scene the pooch would lead him to discover. The odd-acting hound had a leash around its neck, but no owner in sight. And it wouldn't approach Martin. Instead, it just sat there, watching him, as if waiting for something.
I'm gonna cut this water so we can have some water. But it won't come to me. Try getting closer, it just wants to run away.
Eventually, Martin had just about given up on being able to help the evasive hound, but then this happened.
Hold on, I heard something. You all right? All right. Yeah, I can see that. What's the best way to handle this? Okay. Okay. Is that right up the road here? Is that right up the road?
In a shocking twist, just off the road was the dog's owner, lying in the dirt. It turned out he'd been walking his dog when he'd fallen on a rock and injured his hip. Unable to get up, he'd been stuck there in the middle of nowhere with the sun beating down on him, hoping for the unlikely chance of a rescue. Thankfully, Martin happened to be tending to a job nearby, and with the help of that loyal pooch, they were able to team up and save the old fella's life. This is Kevin Hines, and in September 2000, he fell over 200 feet from the Golden Gate Bridge into the water below. Though he survived the drop, many of his bones were broken on impact, and he knew he couldn't keep himself afloat for long. Things went from bad to worse when he saw something lurking in the water, something large and powerful which began circling him. Kevin suddenly feared that if he somehow didn't drown, he was going to be eaten by a shark. Except this wasn't a shark. It was a sea lion, which swam underneath him and pushed him up to the water's surface. Astoundingly, the lion stayed there, keeping him from drowning until the Coast Guard came to the rescue. Having survived the almost tragic ordeal, Kevin went on to become a motivational speaker, and today tells his incredible story around the clock, while advocating support for those experiencing the type of mental crisis that put him atop the bridge in the first place. I bet the sea lion is bringing that same kind of wholesomeness too, somewhere down in the depths of the San Francisco Bay. Imagine being a 911 call handler and receiving a distressing call from a Pit Bull Labrador mix. Am I reading that right? Yep. Major is a service dog trained to look after his owner, Terry, a Marine Corps veteran who suffers from PTSD and long-term injuries from a roadside bomb. One day, the duo were at home when Terry started to have a seizure. With no one around to help, the situation looked bleak, but Major didn't see it that way. Instead, he did something amazing. He called 911.
What's your emergency?
Terry's phone is set up for situations like this and only needs a long-held tap to automatically call the emergency services. The ingenious pup took the phone in his jaws out of his owner's pocket and pressed down on the screen, making the call. In fact, he called the emergency services 10 times. When medics arrived, they found Major out in front for them. Then he guided the medics to his owner so they could give Terry the medical attention he desperately needed. Now, I don't know about you, but I think Major should be in line for a promotion any minute now. The hero animal up next did something absolutely astonishing during one of the most horrific events in modern history. The recipient of that heroism was Michael Hingson, who was extremely unfortunate to be on the 78th floor of the North Tower of the World Trade Center on that catastrophic day in September 2001. To make matters worse, Michael had been blind from birth, and he suddenly had to walk down more than 1,000 steps. But he wasn't alone. He had his guide dog, Roselle. With unbelievable calmness, Roselle guided her owner down nearly 80 stories while the building burned and tilted. When they finally reached the bottom, a police officer told them to run as the building was about to collapse. Thanks to Roselle's efforts, they made it to safety. She continued to work as Michael's guide dog until 2007, when she received a well-earned retirement. This enormous rat is an expert in military explosives. How? Well, he's not known for throwing grenades. His work looks more like this. In Cambodia, due to decades of civil war, there are literally millions of unexploded munitions scattered around the country. If you're a kid in Cambodia, I bet that makes for some pretty tense games of hide and seek. And to make the place safer, a charity called Apopo has trained these giant African pouched rats to sniff out landmines. And while they're certainly hefty for rats, they're not heavy enough to set the mines off, making them ideal for the task. With the help of the giant pouched rats, Apopo has cleared over 150,000 explosives worldwide. But with an estimated 4 to 6 million explosives still buried in Cambodia, it sounds like the work of these little lifesavers is far from being done. The man in this CCTV footage from Saco, Maine, has no idea the kind of crazy scenario that was about to go down when he investigated a noise at the door. Luckily, his backup pooch was ready for anything. Man, that escalated fast. When you're meant to be the attacker and your victim's trying to protect you from the dog, get the message. This isn't a dog you want to be messing with. Looks like this guy got the memo as he quickly fled, never to return. A tobacco store owner in France leaves to take out the trash. Now what happens when he returns is truly chilling. Thanks to the unbelievably heroic dog's sudden appearance, the store owner not only chases the criminal out, but also successfully disarms him. The insane scenario ended up with the heroic dog and its owner both unharmed, and the criminal empty-handed. When two criminals try to accost the man up next, he's clearly scared for his life, but the same can't be said for his dog. The owner still got his hands up in surrender, but thanks to his courageous little friend, he's not the one that lost the battle. Thankfully, they all made it out unharmed, though I'm sure those would-be thieves' egos were severely bruised. Things took a terrifying turn for one corner store clerk when two dangerous criminals made the shop their target. The clerk had means to defend the store, but she needed a distraction if she was going to have a chance to fetch it. The doggo's distraction was just enough to give the clerk time to grab her means of defense and scare the criminals off. And the dog's name? Bullet. You couldn't write this stuff. Although, if anyone does feel inspired to produce an action thriller about a crime-fighting dog, hit me up. I think I speak for everyone when I say, stop leaving babies near stairs. It's dangerous and stresses me out. Editor, don't you dare play more footage of that. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, those good old sheepdog herding instincts. The dog saves the day once again. Now, get a baby gate, parents. I've got to keep my heart rate down. If you're living in Australia and you want to stay safe, you've got to keep an eye out for snakes, especially the insanely dangerous brown snake, whose venom can kill a human within 15 minutes. While venomous snakes like that aren't entirely without predators that might swoop in when you need them most, brown snakes are not usually hunted by little pet dogs. Apparently, this dog didn't get the memo. Yep, that's a brown snake that Shiba Inu is fearlessly battling, and somehow she managed to get out of it alive. The Shiba, named Charty, was treated for a bite, but was able to recover at the vets just fine. There are countless tales of Shibas and other dogs being insanely brave, or perhaps a little reckless out there. They regularly risk their own lives doing stuff like diving into water to rescue an owner, even when the owner's actually fine. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Shiba Inu leading a Navy SEAL extraction mission to rescue their owner. That's how far they'd go for their humans. Just a little shout out to all the brave, slightly reckless pooches out there. We love ya. Well, now you've seen some animal heroes, why not check out the opposite with our video on times evil animals played with humans? It's pretty hilarious if I do say so myself. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.